Many of the Disney princes are born into royalty, but some become royal through marriage, and some aren't actually royal at all. Get the lowdown on all the Disney princesses' love interests and keep watching to the end to discover which prince was born royal but never knew it.
Now, is that an official wish? Say the magic words.
Genie, I wish for you to make me a prince.
The Prince from Snow White. We're beginning with the movie that started the whole Disney Princess franchise, and that's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Snow White's love interest was simply called the Prince, so it's pretty clear from the get-go that this guy was royal from birth, and Snow White was also born royal, so these two lovebirds are as regal as they come. There's been speculation through the years about what his actual name is. Some think it's Ferdinand because of a comment Shirley Temple made in the 1938 Oscars when she presented Walt Disney with his awards. Others think it's Frederick because that name is reportedly used in artwork and documents in the Walt Disney Studio archives. And others think it's Florian. And that name was allegedly used when Disney started its princess franchise. Regardless of his real name, there are other fascinating facts about the prince that shed light on the whole franchise. The prince has the honor of being the first realistic human male that Disney animators brought to the screen. If you think back to the start of Disney animation, it's all anthropomorphic characters, like Mickey Mouse. Because of his groundbreaking position, the prince was actually the hardest of all characters to animate, and that's why he only had a minor role in the film. In fact, he's only in it twice. Animator Milt Kahl was involved in bringing the prince to life, and that gave him valuable experience for the next two entries on our list.
Oh my goodness,
What's the matter?
it's midnight.
Prince Charming. Milt Kahl also had a different task of animating the love interest in Cinderella. Prince Charming has plenty in common with the prince from Snow White. He was born royal, and he only had a small role in his movie. We see Prince Charming at the ball, and when he tries to find the girl whose foot fits the slipper. Finally, we see him leaving their wedding. That's not much airtime at all. We also never know his name, although it's thought that he's called Henry. But there are crucial differences between the two princes. The first is that Prince Charming married a woman who wasn't already royal. Cinderella became royal through marriage rather than birth. Another difference between the men in these two movies is that Prince Charming gets a much bigger role in his sequels, particularly in Cinderella 3: A Twist in Time.
With you. It's just that I was expecting, someone else.
In Cinderella, we also get to learn more about what life is like for a prince born into royalty. His father, the king, is desperate for his son to find a wife. He's also very keen to have grandchildren running around the castle. That's why the king comes up with the idea of a ball, so that his son can meet every eligible maiden in the kingdom. In fact, the king is so determined to find a wife for his son that he doesn't restrict the choices to royalty only. That's not like our next royal entry's father. Prince Phillip. Prince Philip is also royal by birth. He continued what the Prince in Snow White began by saving a damsel in distress with true love's kiss. But he's actually the first Disney prince to be known by his actual name. In fact, it's thought that Aurora's bow was named after a real prince. That's Prince Philip, the husband of the UK's Queen Elizabeth II. The prince in Sleeping Beauty is also the first love interest to have a prominent role in his movie. This film also features Prince Philip's father, King Hubert, and we're shown how young princes' lives are controlled by their families from a very young age. In this case, King Hubert and his bestie King Stefan decide that their children should get married when they're old enough. Given that Aurora is only a baby at the time and Philip just a young boy, it's not like they had any say in the matter. Philip and Aurora fall in love for real, and they meet many years later, and they don't even realize they're betrothed. Philip assumes Aurora is a peasant girl, but that doesn't stand in the way of his feelings for her. He manipulates his father into agreeing that he should marry the girl he loves. As it turns out, of course, they're both royalty and have been promised to each other forever. That all worked out well in the end, didn't it?
She had the most beautiful voice.
Eric, I think you swallowed a bit too much seawater.
Prince Eric. The fourth prince in the Disney princess franchise was also born royal. Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid marries a princess who was born royal too. However, King Triton is the king of the sea, making Ariel a princess from a different realm. This couple goes on to have a child called Melody in their sequel movie. So they're a royal family, through and through, and that makes Eric the only Disney prince to be a father. But we don't actually know that much about Eric's lineage. To find out more about Eric's background, we have to take a look at the 2007 Broadway musical adaptation of the Disney film. In it, we learn that Eric's father has passed away, and it's Eric's manservant Grimsby's duty to help him find a bride. This is so that Eric can return to the throne properly, despite his love of exploring the sea. Grimsby also takes on this role in the movie. When he gives Eric a birthday present, Grimsby says that he wishes it were a wedding present instead. We discover that Eric had recently refused to marry a princess from another land, and Grimsby remarks that he, as well as the entire kingdom, wants to see Eric happily married. Eric, however, will only marry when he finds the right girl, and that girl turns out to be Ariel, of course. Prince Adam. The next prince in the franchise is only in his true prince form at the very end of his movie. We're talking about Prince Adam, aka Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Although he was born royal, an enchantress transformed him into a beast because of his less than regal attitude. He had to learn to love and earn Belle's love in return to break the curse, and also to earn back his human and princely status. Interestingly, although he's referred to as Prince in the opening, none of the characters directly refer to him by that title, and the first draft also indicated that he was a duke rather than a prince. We don't get much more information about his royal background in the animated movie, but we do discover some interesting backstory in the 2017 live-action remake. A flashback reveals that he had a kind-hearted mother who passed away when he was a child. His cruel father was left to raise him, which meant he developed cruel behavior as a result. As for his name, Adam is an unofficial moniker, even though it has been used in some licensed merchandise. In fact, it was stated in the director's commentary on the DVD release that the character never had an actual name. He's only referred to as the Beast or the Prince. It's been said that this lack of name is simply down to the writers and producers being so busy they forgot to give him one.
Nice going, Abu. Breakfast is served.
Aladdin. It's taken us until the sixth love interest in the Disney Princess franchise to find a man that wasn't born royal. Aladdin has the honor of being the first prince that became royal through marriage. In fact, at the beginning of the movie, he couldn't get much further from royalty if he tried. The self-confessed street rat and thief had to steal food to survive. There aren't many princes that need to do that, but the words prince and princess aren't necessarily the right fit here. After all, Jasmine's father was a sultan, so by marrying Jasmine in the sequel, did Aladdin actually become a sultan rather than a prince? Of course, Aladdin does become a prince temporarily, but not through birth or marriage.
Genie, I wish for you to make me a prince.
All right! Yo, yo, woo, woo, woo.
He becomes Prince Ali Ababwa, thanks to Genie, who grants his wish to be a prince. This was all part of Aladdin's plan to get Jasmine to fall in love with him. Aladdin also has the honor of being the first love interest in the Disney Princess franchise to have the movie named entirely after him. So, with the release of the movie Aladdin in 1992, we saw a couple of major shifts. The first was giving the attention to the male character, and the second was his lack of royal birthright status. Li Shang. Unlike the rest of the Disney princes, Li Shang is neither born a prince nor does he marry into royalty. That's because his eventual wife in the sequel, Mulan, isn't actually a princess. She's the 8th official Disney princess, but unlike most of the other princesses, she's not actually royal through birth or marriage. She's recognized for her heroic acts rather than any royal status. The character was in fact inspired by the legendary figure from the Chinese poem The Ballad of Hua Mulan. As for General Li Shang, rather than being a prince, he is actually a captain in the Chinese army, just like his father, General Li. So from that point of view, he carries on the same title as his father, just like a prince and king would. But unlike royalty, Li Shang earns his title through hard work and training rather than it being a birthright. Prince Naveen. With the 2009 movie, The Princess and the Frog, we saw the return of a prince who was born royal. But Prince Naveen didn't actually act regal to begin with, and he's very different than the Golden Age Disney princes that we're used to. Whereas Prince Naveen was portrayed as being a freeloader and a party animal, who had spent all of his life being waited on. The Prince of Maldonia's parents were so unimpressed by his spoiled attitude and laziness that they cut him off, and so he was on the hunt for a rich woman looking to marry. That's another shift in the franchise, as the male love interests that went before him all wanted to marry for love. Even Aladdin, who certainly would have benefited from marrying into money. It's Tiana who transforms Naveen into a worthier man, and he transforms her into a princess when they get married. And it's thanks to this regal transformation that they both transform back into humans.
Give your lovely bride some sugar. Congratulations.
It's like an updated version of the true love kiss that the franchise started out with. They helped each other in different ways, rather than one character entirely saving the other. They worked together to create the restaurant, and Naveen lives life as a hardworking employee rather than a spoiled prince. Eugene Fitzherbert. We're finishing up with the love interest that became royal through marriage, and then discovered he was in fact a secret prince after all. Rapunzel's love interest in Tangled had a split identity throughout the movie already. He presents himself as Flynn Rider, but he's actually called Eugene Fitzherbert. And we assume that the former thief gains his royal status entirely through marriage to the princess. Rapunzel and Eugene both assumed that was the case too, but actually Eugene is the only Disney prince to be a long-lost prince, and this is revealed not in the original movie or a sequel film, but in the animated TV show Tangled the series. In the season 2 finale of what became Rapunzel's Tangled adventure, Eugene finds out that he is the long-lost son of King Edmund, ruler of the Dark Kingdom. King Edmund explains that when Eugene was little, a powerful opal threatened to destroy the land. The king ordered a kingdom-wide evacuation to protect his subjects, including Eugene, who was placed in an orphanage. The opal led to Eugene's mother passing away and presented a risk to Rapunzel too. Eugene's unknown royal lineages is parallel with Rapunzel's own journey. After all, she was the lost princess of Corona and also didn't know her royal birthright. So now you know which Disney princes were born royal, which married royalty, and which weren't royal at all. Which is your favorite Disney prince? Let us know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you love Disney, and make sure to subscribe to The Things for more videos like this one. We'll see you next time.